how it works. So this is sort of the order flow method, if you like. So this is the order flow method. So what does the order flow method stand for? So it is O for observe, R for read, D for decode, E for execute, and R for repeat. Right, so we observe what the market is doing. So we have, context, structure, premium, discount. We have all these different things. After that, we want to read what the market's actually doing. Now, reading what the market's doing isn't staring at candles, even worse, indicators, Heikin-Ashis, Elliott waves, any of these things. Right, reading the market comes down to two things, and that is the bid and the ask. Right, the left number and the right number. So if you watched any of my videos, I've broken down what footprint charts are. I'm going to assume you've watched that video. If you haven't, please go back and see that. So we want to observe what the market's doing, market context, that's structure, dealing range, premium and discount, volume profiles, even maybe the news, stuff like that. Once you've got that, you want to read what the market's doing. We look at bid and ask, we look at volume delta, we look at who is aggressive. Then we decode that information. So then we start looking at the absorption, the exhaustion. We start looking at zero prints. We start looking at who is trapped in the order flow. And then from there, we execute based off the break and retest, right? So we have to do this in order. So the reason I call it the order flow method, or the ORDER, is because we want to observe what the market's doing. So we want to get market context. We then want to read what the market's doing, actually reading it. So I have a quote that those who read the market are paid out by those who don't. So the R is very important, and the R allows you to decode the market, which is D. This is absorption of buyers and sellers. Once you've achieved that, you then want to execute based on what you've decoded. And the most important thing is, once you have O, R, D, and E, you want to put that into a repeatable system with consistency, and that's how you build your edge. And we do that through order flow. So that's obviously through footprint charts, understanding where liquidity actually is, not just using an ICT model. You actually want to understand where the liquidity is. You do that reading the order book, or the orders that hit the footprint charts, and you want to identify weakness. And so weakness is how levels form, because if you think about it, when a participant shows weakness, it means they've been overpowered by someone else. And so we call these passive buyers and passive sellers. I'm going to be going through what that is, but just remember: order, observe, read, decode, execute, and repeat. Right, that's the order flow method. Now, if we go to the footprint charts right now, this is a candlestick chart, right? This is what people think they need to trade. So we have our key level. We've gone through O, right? So O is the method, sorry, the observe, right? So I'm going to assume you have your market context correct. You understand where your key levels are. You understand where your structure is. You understand your premium and discount. Now we go to R, read, right? What do you read? What is it that you're reading? Well, here's what you're reading. Right, you're reading candles inside the level. So let's kind of understand what was going on here. Here we have this. So you are looking to read and just understand what's going on. So